Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into an exciting matchup, the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday afternoon. I really think this could be one of the standout games of the week. First up, let's talk about the Steelers' defense. Historically, they're doing incredible things, allowing just 8.7 points per game and a mere 229.3 yards. Opponents are only converting 21.88% of their third downs. That's just wild. In the red zone, they're even tougher, letting in just 16.67% of attempts. Honestly, this might be one of the best defensive performances we've seen in NFL history after 3 weeks. Now, the Steelers are facing a quarterback who is struggling quite a bit. I'm talking about Anthony Richardson, who has more interceptions than touchdowns and is completing under 50% of his passes. He seems to have lost his confidence, making him the perfect opponent for Pittsburgh's fierce defense. On the offensive side, the Steelers should be able to find their rhythm against the Colts defense, which has had its issues this season. They rank 13th in points allowed, but sit at 31st in yards given up. Teams are averaging an astonishing 398 yards per game against them. And when it comes to rushing, opponents are averaging 40 carries for about 179 rushing yards per game. That's a lot. While the Steelers have been decent with their rushing game, averaging 130.7 yards over 36 carries per game, they haven't quite had that breakout performance yet. With their run-first approach under Arthur Smith, they should be better, and I believe this game against the Colts could be the moment they really shine. Will it be a close game? I think so. It might be within a 10-point range, possibly a one-score game. But I have some doubts about Anthony Richardson's ability to turn things around, especially since the Colts will be without DeForest Buckner, one of their top players. Their front line is already weak, and losing Buckner is a big blow. Let's not forget how Justin Fields performed in the last game. He gained momentum, especially in the fourth quarter, putting together what I believe was the best game of his young career against a tough defense. With a chance to go 3-0, the pressure is on him, especially knowing that Russ is right there ready to step in. This is a massive opportunity for Fields, playing behind an elite defense and having three solid running backs. While the offensive line has room for improvement, I see potential there. I believe things are only going to get better. Justin Fields knows he can't afford to make mistakes, and he's been stepping up big time. In his last game, he threw for 245 yards and added 6 rushing yards. His efficiency was impressive too, 25 completions on 32 attempts. The only interception he had was just plain unlucky. It hit a defender and bounced right into the hands of Bud Dupree. You rarely see plays like that. But stats don't tell the whole story. When you watch Fields, you see his incredible throws, strength, and accuracy. He consistently split the safeties, and despite the Chargers running the same coverage all game, Fields found a way to make them pay. Those are the little things that make him such a threat in the Steelers' offense. I've seen a lot of comments arguing that Russell Wilson deserves another shot. Some fans were backing him up before the season began, mostly because of his Super Bowl win. But let's be real, Wilson is 35 years old now. Justin Fields is a whole 10 years younger, with a bigger arm and a more explosive style. He's simply a more physical presence on the field. Yes, the Steelers are 3-0 thanks to their stout defense, but don't forget, they were tied with the Chargers going into the fourth quarter. Fields stepped up, scoring a touchdown and a field goal to seal the deal. Sure, the Chargers had their share of penalties, including roughing the passer and a face mask, which definitely impacted their performance. But the Steelers were incredibly physical and can beat any team. They're even in the Super Bowl conversation. Their ability to protect the football and dominate on defense is crucial. On the flip side, the Colts have a lot of work to do. They haven't impressed me much, and facing the Steelers' #1 ranked defense is a tough task. One bright spot for the Colts is their offensive line. Honestly, I think they might have the best offensive line in the league. However, remember that the Chargers also boasted a strong offensive line with top-tier tackles like Rashawn Slater and Corey Linsley. Yet the Steelers' rush was relentless. Yes, Slater did get injured late in that game, but when he returned, he was immediately pressured. The Steelers' physicality is overwhelming, no matter how good the opposing offensive line is, thanks to their incredible depth and talent on defense. Their secondary is playing well too, which gives the edge rushers even more chances to get to the quarterback. Just look at TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, who have been dominant. And let's not forget about Cam Hayward, one of the best nose tackles in the league. This defense has multiple ways to beat you, and with athletic talents like Joey Porter Jr. in the secondary, they are a formidable force. I really like what I see from the Steelers' secondary, especially with players like Beanie Bishop and Darius Rush adding some serious speed. Rush is a young guy, and if I'm not mistaken, he's a former Colt. This defense is living up to its ranking. Teams have struggled to find success against the Steelers, and that's why they're dominating this year. Now, while the Steelers' defense has been outstanding, their offense hasn't had that breakout game yet. Will this matchup be the one? If there's ever a chance for it, it could be against the Colts, who have been terrible at stopping the run and are giving up the most yards per game. Looking at the Steelers from an offensive perspective, they rank 24th in scoring and yards. However, they're actually quite good on third downs, sitting at 7th with a 43.8% conversion rate. Being a lead on third down is crucial, so that's a positive sign for Pittsburgh. On the flip side, they rank 31st in red zone touchdowns, with just one touchdown in that area. They didn't even score a touchdown in their first game, which definitely hurt their numbers. But here's the thing. The Steelers have a lot of room for improvement, and that's why I appreciate them so much. They haven't played anywhere near their best football yet. Sure, the Chargers had a nice drive that ended with a touchdown to their young receiver Quentin Johnston, but overall, teams have struggled against the Steelers. Offensively, I believe they'll only get better. In Week 3, Fields wasn't just relying on bootlegs or escaping the pocket. He had to step up as a pocket passer and make throws. He did that effectively, so there's no reason to doubt his arm strength. Maybe you could question his decision-making, but he's only turned the ball over once, and that was a crazy play. I've been a huge fan of Justin Fields since he entered the league from Ohio State. The Bears were my most watched team last season thanks to my admiration for him. When Fields joined the Steelers, I was really rooting for him to beat out Russ for the starting job. Although that didn't happen right away, once Russ was sidelined with a calf injury, Fields took his chance, and it looks like he's not giving up the starting position anytime soon. As a Colts fan, yes, I should have mentioned that earlier, I obviously want my team to win. But even if we do somehow come out on top, I still want Fields to perform well. I don't want him to have a bad game that makes them go back to Russ. He deserves his shot, especially since it's a long season. The Steelers aren't going to win every game, but this is one they really need. Why? Because the second half of their schedule is brutal. The more wins they can rack up in the first half, the better their chances of winning the division, securing home field advantage, and making a Super Bowl run. As a Steelers fan, this is a must-win game. They're facing one of the weakest quarterbacks in the league right now and a defense that struggles to stop anyone. Mike Tomlin knows this too. They just have to find a way to win.